All right, so this is Diesel We the People News. Okay, I'm just gonna remind you guys over and over and over. Okay, never just look straight forward. Always look around you. That way you can protect yourself by any means necessary. Use that Second Amendment. Arm yourself with knowledge. Okay, I'm not an attorney. Okay, I'm hearsay. All right, do your own research because you are the one that's got to protect you, and you got to protect your family. I can't do it for you. All right. However, for education for me, I created this YouTube. Well, I created it first of all to be a cop watcher, and that didn't pan out. A bunch of things happened, and now I'm raising grandbabies and all that kind of stuff, and so I just sit there and study law and all that kind of stuff. Since I got lost a small case, it was just traffic case, but I was found basically guilty, and the judge wasn't going to rule against his officer, which led me into this path. How in the world did this happen? That being said, this is going to be about judges, okay?
So there was no notification, so the arrows point at the bell. Click the bell so you get notified. Bad behavior. The judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court and such inferior courts as Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. The judges both of the Supreme and inferior courts shall hold their offices during good behavior and shall at stated times receive for their services a compensation which shall not be diminished during the continuance in office. That's the Constitution, Article 3, Section 1. So the point being is they only hold office during good behavior, okay? And when they're in bad behavior, they're not a judge, okay? And we'll talk about that some more. It's going to be coming up. Fraud upon...
All right. So, that being said, every state, look in your state, okay? Ours is, I forgot the word. Article 15, I believe it is, okay? In the state of Texas, right? Impeachment, okay? But these judges are not going to impeach themselves. The attorneys is not going to impeach them. And your legislature is not going to impeach them. So what do we do, people? You gather up your witnesses that when you was in court and this judge was acting in bad faith, and you get the basic law knowledge and how they are in bad faith. Now you and your witnesses do a redress, a petition, and instruct your legislatures of your state to go ahead and get the proceedings started of impeachment. Okay, here in Texas, if you get the documents when they started impeaching the Attorney General here, if you get actually a copy of that, it's pretty much the same process. I still think they did it wrong, but it is what it is today, okay? But understand that if they're not going to do these things on their own, because, you know, you're dealing with criminals, and criminals going to uphold criminals, and then criminals going to uphold criminals, okay? Just saying. Let's go.
The court is fraud which is directed to the judicial machinery itself. It is not fraud between the parties or fraudulent documents, false statements, or perjury.
Oh, and that's going to be the First Amendment of the petition you redress and your monstrance. And don't forget, the First Amendment is to be able to, it was in my brain, it just went bloop, 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 out into space. Okay? What is the other one? A symbol. All right? Your witnesses in that is going to be your witness, but they're going to assemble to petition of your redress. and your monstrance. Okay? And we got to do something and step outside of the box, people. I mean, they're not going to go investigate themselves.
Is where the court or a member is corrupted or influenced, or influence is attempted, or where the judge has not performed his judicial function, where the impartial functions of the court have been directly corrupted. That's fraud upon the court. Okay, if they're working for the executive branch, then there's fraud upon the court going on. An officer who acts in violation of the Constitution ceases to represent the government. Officers of the court have no immunity when violating a constitutional right, for they're deemed to know the law. Or any state
So as soon as that judge says there is no constitution in my courts, what did they just do? It's time to be impeached.
Proceeds against a private individual in a judicial forum, it's well settled that the state, county, municipality, etc. waives any immunity that counters cross-claims complaints by direct or collateral means regarding the matters involved. When enforcing mere statutes, judges of all courts do not act judicially and thus are not protected by qualified or limited immunity. Sue their fucking ass off.
So even then, argument's sake, when you're just kind of starting out with it, just go minimum. Okay? Go to small claims court. Try it out there. Okay? And if you win, they're going to do a appeal on it anyway, right? But if you lose, you do appeal as well.
Immunity for judges does not extend to acts that are clearly outside their jurisdiction. You got to sue them in their private capacity, okay? They have immunity in their official capacity. You can pierce right through that immunity just by showing that they're in bad behavior and they're in private capacity. And you sue them in their private capacity only.
A step further. So the magistrates is not really judicial branch. They're not judges. Okay, now here in Texas, judges and magistrates one and the same. But which court are they operating in? Okay, are they acting in the judicial branch, or are they acting in the administrative branch, which is the magistrate?
I'd like to see them living in a cardboard box on the street. In arriving at our decision in this matter, we do not depart from any way from our holding that in Hundling versus Jensen that the doctrine of judicial immunity extends to courts of limited jurisdiction, but when a minor magistrate acts wholly without jurisdiction, civil liability attaches for his malicious and corrupt abuse of process and his willful and malicious oppression of any person under the pretense of acting in his official capacity. So what they do is they're working for the executive branch. Think about it, folks. And they send out their screen for low intelligence hired thugs to assault you to bring in business for their so-called court. And you are the enemy. Think about it, folks. That's what's going on. You are the enemy. Murdered by the police. This is, I think, in Chicago. And what's that? 3, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 30 people. The police murder people all the time. We talked it over, and after investigating it ourselves, we decided we're not guilty. You are the enemy, folks. Time to wake up. Beware violent street gangs. There's a gang member right there. Typical gang member. Gang colors, heavily armed, well organized. Gang identifier. Do not approach gang members are aggressive and notoriously violent. Can you spot the terrorists? Terrorism is a noun, use of violence and intimidation for the pursuit of political aims. Help!
Now, that being said, how could that be not any clearer? To be honest, how could that not be any clearer?
Help! A violent psychopath is trying to kill me! Please direct him to our website to download a job application. He'll fit right in with our group. He's got low intelligence. We want a higher tuck. Warning, this is the standing army you are told not to tolerate. Order followers are the ones who keep the system of slavery in place. And that's Mark Passio, a pretty brilliant guy, former Satanist priest. And he's got a YouTube channel called What on Earth? What on Earth is happening? Officers in Rialto, California are now required to wear video cameras while on duty. In 1 year, use of force dropped 60% and complaints have dropped by 88%. Gee, why is that a surprise? Have you had enough of the order followers, or do you need to be abused some more? Order followers are the servants of evil. You assist an evil system most effectively by obeying its orders and decrees. An evil system never deserves such allegiance. Allegiance to it means partaking of the evil. A good person will resist an evil system with his or her whole soul. My blog is Sovereignty Internet.
And I've said this in the past, many, many years ago. Okay. They cannot be a religious judge, a religious attorney, and a religious officer. Mainly because the officer is legal to lie, and they do all the time. And in the book, it says, thou shalt not lie. Nowhere in there, but unless you're tracing criminals.
International.wordpress.com. My website is sovereigntyinternational.fyi. My email is engineerwin@yahoo.com. My YouTube profile, Sovereign Living. My Facebook community page, I deleted it a long time ago due to censorship on the part of Facebook. For their fake courts. Under international law of warfare, all parties to a cause must appear by nom de guerre because an alien enemy cannot maintain an action during the war in his own name. When acting to enforce the statute and its subsequent amendments to the present date, the judge of municipal court is acting as an administrative officer, not in a judicial capacity. Courts administrating or enforcing statutes do not act judicially, but merely ministerially, but merely acts as an extension, as an agent for the involved agency, and only in a ministerial, not a discretionary capacity.
So when they actually follow the statutes, and think about this, y'all. Let's just say I was sentenced for 10 years. Well, it's 10 years plus $1,000 fine, right? Well, they had to put that $1,000 fines in there to what? To keep it in the administrative civil criminal. Not criminal like in the judicial criminal, but and not in the common law criminal, but in the civil criminal. This is not me making this stuff up. I understand that you guys are going, no, that's not true. And I do understand that's ridiculous. And that is a form of a bill of attainder, which is unconstitutional on its face as well. Just saying.
Judge works for the state, prosecutor works for the state, police works for the state. The vast majority of the disputes that the police initiate on behalf of their employer are also adjudicated by their employer, where the plaintiff, the judge, the antagonist, the police, and the only witness, also the police, all represent the same party, and since no corpus delicti, mens rea, or acts reus can be produced, doesn't technically qualify to be heard according to its own laws. The state, therefore, is indistinguishable from a criminal cartel. It's exactly what's going on, folks. Time to wake up. It's the accepted rule not only in state courts but in the federal courts as well that when a judge is enforcing administrative law, they're described as mere extensions of the administrative agency for superior reviewing purposes, as a ministerial clerk for the agency, a bought and paid for clerk. And administrative is executive. Okay, that's the executive branch.
See, and cops are executive branch. They are no different than a cop. Just saying.
Law enforcement officers enforce statutes. Law enforcement officers are not peace officers. Law enforcement officers are operating in their private capacity. Judges are become involved in enforcement of mere statutes, civil or criminal in nature, and otherwise act as mere clerks of the involved agency. Ministerial officers are incompetent to receive grants of judicial power from the legislature. Their acts in attempting to exercise those powers are necessarily nullities, okay? It's all a nullity. They don't have a shred of authority. They're not competent to issue orders or judgments. Things that you see every day using the satanic philosophy of moral relativism. False flag operation.
All right. Again, people, I'm arm length. This is just education. Do your own research. Okay? But even going through all this, you know it has to be ridiculous that we even have to go through all this. Just saying. A lot of these things, you guys say sovereign citizens, you say this and this and this, but every one of these people are picking out something that's in the law. Just saying. A national, it's in the law. State, city, national, it's in the law. Federal, national, American, United States of America, national, it's in the law. They're using particular codes to try to benefit themselves. Okay? And for argument's sake, if I believed in sovereign citizen, if I'm a sovereign citizen and you are a sovereign citizen and somebody else is a sovereign citizen, well, I have no authority over you and you have no authority over me. And if you're a man and I'm a man, I have no authority over you and you have no authority over me. And any government has zero authority unless I trespassed and committed domestic abuse and battery upon another man or another sovereign citizen or another sovereign man. My authority does not overpower their authority. And since we are we the people, our authority is above our servant. All right? And this is where this confusion, oh, they're against government, they're against government. Are they? Are they against the things that they are doing to us? This is We the People News. Bye, y'all.